interesting. You have the one that's had how many procedures done that is on OnlyFans that doesn't speak to the father, and the other daughter. I mean, she has one who's special needs also, but there's three. But the other daughter she's found God, truly found God. It's not a stick,
Whoa,
and
whoa.
she prays every day. And Denise is like, we're like a crazy family. Like, great, I support both of them. And here's your father, Charlie, and he's going in for a neck lift. And it really is their real life. It's a very Hollywood family. And it just works the way it's edited and it's by evolution. So they show flashbacks to Beverly Hills Housewives.
Okay,
She
that's
makes, I
good.
mean, her husband makes fun of like, yeah, that was like the worst period of our life. Like, what the hell? I don't want to be around those women at all ever again. Like, it's actually really good. So I don't know. I just don't see it in Stassi and Beau. I just don't,
No,
unfortunately.
hey, prove us wrong, Stassi and Beau. Prove us wrong. I'm right there with you.
What are you thinking of the Valley?
It's so dark, and we did one of our longest episodes ever after covering season or episode 2, and it is one of those situations where my big thoughts are I don't trust producer Jerry to do these shows anymore, especially after season 11 of Vanderpump Rules. I'm sure he's a super nice guy. I'm sure
Why?
I feel like he thinks he knows what the audience wants. And there's the easy executive thing to be like, the audience doesn't know what they want. But they're relying on old tactics that don't show the truth anymore, or don't show a captivating experience that the audience really wants. It is more cookie cutter, rinse, repeat with these new talking points. And unfortunately, I've never been a producer of a TV show, so I could be talking out of both sides of my mouth right now. But from what I see from season 11 to Southern Charm to Summer House to The Valley, he has had his hand at least a little bit in all of those. Vanderpump Rules season 11 was a tremendous disappointment and could have gone so many different directions. And there could have been pressure from, higher ups. We got to get this done, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. All I know is that it wasn't done to perfection. Season 1 of The Valley, it was fun, but why do we get Kristen Doute ostracized for half of the season? And we just get her and Luke. That's not what I'm watching this show for. Kristen, right? I don't need Janet. And then we get into this season, and of course there's all this dark shit with Jax. Terrible. At some point, if it is as bad as they are even hinting at in these first 2 episodes, there should have been a full stop down, and there should have been a different style of filming this show. And I think that by feeding into the jealousy between Jax and Brittany and being like, Jax had a girl over last night, Brittany, you need to confront him about it. Whether or not that's actually said to her, that is what is understood that needs to happen in these shows, is terrible. Crews should not be at the filming situations. And, the argument could be like, well, this is real life. This is what they wanted. This is it. At a certain point, you need to go, we're not making a documentary right now. We're making a docuseries. We're making a reality TV show. And we need to be ethical in doing that. And I feel like producer Jerry's lost the thread. I feel like Jax Brittany have lost the thread. And it is incredibly dark and not getting it's really polarizing to fans because it also isn't presenting what these arguments are really like. It's entertainment value in a way that allows Jax to fall back on his Jaxisms and lie to himself in the camera so that everyone can be like, oh, Jax, I knew about this all along, but also really doesn't do anything about it. We're seeing him go to this treatment facility, and by the way, that conversation was so fake on the phone, and I'm pretty sure it was, if it wasn't an AI voice talking to him, it was producer Jerry faking that conversation with him. and it's just tough to watch. I could be, we're 2 episodes in. It could be completely different. But this is the first year I ever got screeners for Bravo shows to help with my production schedule. I don't know how I convinced someone to do it because I've got some takes that I'm sure they don't like. But they gave me the pilot episode of The Valley a month ahead of time. And then when I said, can I also be put on the weekly release? They said, no, we're keeping that to a very small amount of people. And I think it's because some dark shit was caught on camera and they are editing this show up until the very last minute before it goes to air.
Huh.
Yeah.
And like what dark shit? Like just the whole Coke and Brittany
I
says you
think
do Coke and
I think the Coke, I think the
he
Jax
threw a
throwing
table.
things
Yeah.
and he flipped a table and it accidentally hit Brittany's leg. That's convenient. If that's what we're getting talked about on camera, what's happening for scenes that we got caught on camera that aren't making it to air? What's happening when cameras aren't rolling, right? Like this is an abusive relationship, quite frankly, and maybe it needs to not happen. Sorry.
And a lot of people think that it's one-sided, like, okay, Jack's Coke, but where's Brittany's? A lot of people are like, well, you're an alcoholic. We've heard about that forever. Now, I'm not saying that's, but they're like, you ain't no saint.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have an issue with Brittany of
Well, and
like,
I think there's that's the easiest thing to do as a like casual Bravo viewer, right? A
mhm.
not really thinking or getting critical about things is to be like, well, both sides are bad, right? The fact of the matter is whatever problems Brittany has had and whatever mistakes she's made in staying with Jax does not negate that Jax has been terrible to her, right? And I feel
Telling her
like,
she looks like a tree trunk.
oh God. And I do think it's tough to watch, especially the second episode, because when they have their like blow up fight at the end of it, Jax comes in and tries to give Cruz a kiss. She's like, don't kiss his face because you were with a girl and you're dirty. It's like that's not the way to start that conversation, because now it is immediately on fire and at 10 when you already know Jax is gonna point out that you slept with the Tom Tom bouncer guy that was kind of his friend, right?
Mhm.
That's the only criticism I would point towards Brittany is like, look, you can be mad, you can be upset that Jax is hooking up with an OnlyFans model in your guys' shared home, but like, don't